Welcome to the I Love Coaching podcast, the show where we help coaches, entrepreneurs, and leaders build businesses that create massive impact. I'm Adam Roach, alongside my incredible co-host,
Jess Weber, and we're here today to bring you the best strategies, mindset shifts, and real-life success stories to help you level up in your coaching journey.
Whether you're launching your coaching business, scaling to 6 or 7 figures, or just looking for inspiration to push through, this podcast is your go-to resource.
We're bringing you expert insights, real talk, and actionable items every single episode. So if you're ready to take your coaching game to the next level,
then let's dive on in. Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to the I Love Coaching podcast. And do I have a guest for you today? Here's the thing. If you're driving, I want you to pull over right now and pull out a pad of paper. I don't want you distracted to crash when you hear this guy drop some bombs. If you're watching this on YouTube, I want you to slow it down. Normally, we speed these podcasts up. I want you to put this speed at super slow, because what you are about to get is gold. What you are about to get is something that has changed my life. This man, who I have grown to love, is someone that is going to resonate with you. Are you a little overweight? Are you a lot overweight? Do you train, but you don't really get any results? Do you know what to eat? You don't know what to eat? If you're any of those, are you ready for a transformation? You're going to want to hear from Mr. Alan Dyck. You're going to want to hear from this man right now. So sit down, shut up, and listen. Mr. Alan Dyck, it is my pleasure to have you on the I Love Coaching podcast, buddy.
Hey, thank you very much. I'm happy to be here.
Coming all the way from Kelowna, British Columbia, Canada, right?
Yes, sir. Where it's a little bit colder than we are where you are.
Well, listen, in Charleston right now, it is not that warm. We are at 50 degrees, though that might be a little warmer than where you are.
100%. Yeah, we don't get the privilege of that over here just yet.
So let's back up. I want to talk about how our relationship was built, and it's pretty simple. So for the last 2 years, I've been in a group coaching format with Dan Martell. And Dan went through a transformation and then brought Alan into the world. If you haven't watched Dan's YouTube on how he met Alan, go scour the internet for that and go find that. So as soon as I saw Dan having the transformation, I thought, well, if that guy can do it, I can definitely do it. I'm an athlete, right? And then within 16 days, I'll just say that, within 16 days, I knew I had hired the right man. And that was you, Alan.
Honestly, thank you very much. You know what? I can lead a horse to water, whether it's going to take a drink or not. That's totally up to the individual.
Well, I'll tell you what you can do is you put a shitload of salt in our mouth and we have to drink the water, right? So that's the good part. So tell us about Alan. What do we need to know about you? You were born, and then what happened?
I was born a very long time ago. I'm 42, turning 43. And you know what? I was living in Prince George most of my life, and, just lived a very unhealthy lifestyle. My big thing was, I loved fast food, that kind of stuff. And I just didn't have anything to compare how I was feeling in my life to. And honestly, one day I woke up and I just knew I needed to make a change. I was sitting there, I was overweight, I was lonely, even though I was married, I wasn't where I needed to be in life. And I was only sitting at 19, 20 years old. So my life hadn't even really got started. I was still sitting at the starting line. And so, working in a restaurant, just with the stairs and the floors and stuff like that, to the average person, that may not bother them. But to somebody that's sitting at 300 pounds, has knee problems, has lower back problems, and just doesn't understand what cardio is supposed to be, because when he sits there and flicks the remote a couple times too much, actually, I go ahead and get out of breath. So, to have that life, it was just, I didn't want to live it anymore. And, I was sitting there getting ready for work one day, and I had these slip-on shoes, and I had this, this massive technique that I would use to go ahead and put them on. Not proud to say it at all, but implement system. Wasn't able to get my shoes on one day. And I just knew that right then and there, that was my lowest low, and I needed to make a change. And so for me, that change was, I'm sitting at 300 pounds. I'm overweight. I feel depressed. Even though I'm married, I'm alone, and I just needed to make a change. So I turned my hat backwards and said, fuck this. Enough is enough. And my goal is to go ahead and to feel better. And so, over the next 2 or 3 months, I went ahead and lost 100 plus pounds. I was able to go ahead and kind of regain myself back and get myself to a place where, I was comfortable. I was way more positive. I could look at myself in the mirror and be happy with what I saw because I did that. I didn't just succumb to, the average thing that people just get caught up with. Okay, well, it's easy. Fast food is easy, this and that. They don't want to put in the time to learn or to have the knowledge of, okay, well, what should I do to make a change? And so when I went ahead and lost that weight and felt better and all those things, I just knew it was my mission in life to help as many people as possible be able to have that comparison and to know if I can go ahead and decide to feel this way or this way, which path am I going to take? And so, you know what, honestly, after that, it was kind of game, set, match. I went ahead and got my fitness degree, learned a ton about nutrition, had a couple great mentors in my life that allowed me to apply the easy way to do things and just not make it complicated. Because I find the more simple things are, the easier people are going to go ahead and have a great response or just be, inclined to be like, okay, wow, if it's that easy, why can't I do it? Why shouldn't everybody else be able to do it? It doesn't have to be complicated. And it was my job and my goal to build a system that allowed every single person on the face of the planet, regardless of who you are, how much you weigh, and what your goal is, to get yourself back and to feel amazing again.
That is such a great intro. And I love you, but that was way too macro. I mean, that's way too high, right? You've got such depth in your story. Don't BS this to us and me. Don't give us that lip. We need to know. Now, I want to go back, and I'm just giving you a hard time right there. You said happiness, right? I think you said the word happiness. What would you say? You've been doing this now for quite a while. And you've trained hundreds, if not thousands of people. I would love to know if you track the amount of weight that has been released by all of your clients, right? I'm sure that's approaching the tonnage range. Though, when people say, I want to be happier, right? What do you normally hear? And what was that about for yourself to be happier?
Well, honestly, like happiness for me when I was overweight, just for a lot of other people that were probably in the same position, is every time I ate something that, I didn't think I should like, it made me happy. I ate fast food. It filled that craving. It filled that void. It made me, happy for that, that short term. And I had to continue doing that over and over again because of the fact that I had let myself go so far that I didn't really understand what true happiness was. I didn't understand that, to go out for a walk and to have your partner be on the same page as you, or to be able to be motivated in a direction where the both of you can be, conducive to what you guys want to do and to motivate each other. I was not happy because, my wife at the time, she was that person and I wasn't. So therefore there was a lot of conflicting parts there because she was healthy. She worked out, but I was the other end of the spectrum. And, I get opposites attract, but there's got to be a degree of where that is. And, true happiness for me now is the ability to go ahead and have the energy to get through the day, the ability to go ahead and not have a nap at 2:00 in the afternoon, the ability to go ahead and play with my kids into the evening because because I've gone ahead and understand what I'm supposed to eat, how I'm supposed to eat it, when I'm supposed to eat it, and to be able to be the person that can go ahead and give my best self to every single person around me.
Gosh, that is so good. That is so loaded, because I know the people listening right now, we'll put a timestamp on this right now. We're recording this in January, right? And so many people have ended the year of 24, entering into 25, and some of them are probably saying to themselves, I just want to be happier, right? I want to be happier. And here's what you and I, at least I have learned from you and from Dan, is happiness starts in the health space. Happiness starts in the mirror, looking in the mirror space. Would you agree with that?
100%. You know what? I see this every single day from, my studio to, I think I'm up to almost 8,000 people that I've helped and that I'm currently helping online right now, which is amazing because it allows me to go ahead and, like, I'm getting goosebumps just talking about it, to be able to change these people's lives. But, having somebody come in, and like myself, when I went to the gym, when I was 300 pounds, I walked in not knowing what I was going to do or what I should do, but my head was down. I was sheepish. I was embarrassed. I was all these things. And all of a sudden, once somebody starts to take back their life and they start to feel a little bit better, or they have that more energy, or they're dropping weight, or now they feel more confident in what they look like. So now they go get clothes to make them feel like they look better because of all this hard work and all this time they put in. you can see that smile start to creep up on their face. And that is ultimately why I love doing what I do every single day.
That is so stinking good. And I love what you have said. I've heard you say this in the past, and it's so true. I believe my first picture that I took with you is either April 1st or May 1st of 24. I can't remember. And you always say, or at least I've heard you say this a few times, look at your first picture and are you smiling or are you pissed off, right? And the look on your face. And I was like, I don't know. I didn't even pay attention. I went back and there was not a smile. And now when I send you my pictures, I'm like smiling. And you even called me out on that a couple days ago or a couple weeks ago. And you're like, dude, I know you're doing well because you're smiling in your pictures.
100%. And that's a true testament of like why I do this every single day. Because if I were to take a lineup of all the people that have had those before pictures, every single one of them are exactly the same. And as we do this and as we go down the line, that's why I find it so important that people have these micro goals. Not, okay, I need to lose this weight, but that weight might take me a year to do. Enjoy the baby steps along the way and what's actually happening to your body. And the things that you're able to do now are so much more important than the outcome because we have to enjoy the journey.
Yeah. I love that. Now let's actually go into the macro health, nutrition, the fitness space. It's a very saturated space, right? We've seen the Tony Hortons of the world. We've seen you name it, the Beachbody CDs, if you will, back in the day of the world. And man, I got to tell you, I've done all of those. And I just didn't maintain. And there's something about coaching with you that not only is the accountability there, I think I knew I was ready to take them and make the jump to do this. Though, what do you see separates you from the rest of the pack? I have an answer there, but I'd love to hear what you feel.
Honestly, I believe you have to practice what you preach. And in order for people to take you seriously, you have to go ahead and live what you say. When it comes to my kids, they know exactly what to eat now. They understand why they're eating it. They know why they eat vegetables. They know why they drink water. They know why they do that kind of stuff because I've been able to teach them. But the goal is for them to look up to me because regardless of who you are, your kids are going to look up you like you're Superman, regardless of what kind of individual you are. And for me, I always want to make sure that I'm, operating at a top level because I am turning 43 and to me, you have to get better with age. And that's the thing. I don't give a shit. I wouldn't go back to my 20s right now because I love what I know now and I love the way I feel. And so that for me is very, very, very important. And to educate, you have to be able to go ahead and educate because there's a reason why all this works. And there's a reason why it works for you individually as opposed to the next person. There's not a cookie cutter plan out there that works for every single fucking person. And I get so fucking mad. You see, I'm starting to get angry. It's because if it was that easy, all of us would be able to make a shit ton of money. We wouldn't have to do any work, but that's not the goal. You know what? I do a lot of things based on somebody's blood type for this and that, because every single person has a different type of goal out there. But it's our job as trainers to understand food, workouts, and educate. The more you can understand why you're consuming the food, when you're consuming the food, and why you're eating as much as you are is a big deal. Because once you have that knowledge, it's game over.
That's right. It's totally game over. And if we go back to our relationship and our coaching space, I think we might be on meal iteration number 6, maybe 7. And we've changed it because here's what Alan has me do every single day. Now, Alan and I are working one-on-one together, and he has different packages, different ways of working with him, though. Every single day it's a weigh-in. Every single day it is a, how do I feel, right? What do I feel either different or about my body? And then the third one is, where am I hungry? And what's been interesting, let's just call it meal plan number 4. Man, I was finding I was hungry all over the place. And you added just a few small little micro changes. And now my third question that I get to ask myself is, where am I hungry? And I'm like, I'm not hungry, though I'm only consuming a little bit different. And you made just such a minor, small tweak that it really changed everything. And now we just made another small tweak.
You know what? And this goes to apply to exactly what you're talking about. It's like every single person has a different goal. As we get further down that line, things that we're doing have to change, because once again, you can't stay on the same path and just keep eating the same foods and doing the same workout with no tweaks for nothing to happen. You know what? I'm sitting here dieting because I'm going to take my kids and my girlfriend. We're going to go to Mexico on February 18th. And my goal is to look like fucking Rambo off of Rambo 3. Because my son's like, Dad, can you look like that? And I say, can I look like that? Are you fucking with me? 100% I can. So I have to make changes along the way to get myself there. That's why I love doing this, because of the 3 things that I ask every single client that I take on. What's your weight to the decimal? And it's not necessarily a big deal. For a lot of women, sometimes that bothers them. But at the end of the day, it's just, I care what they look like, I care how they feel, but I base the calories they're consuming on that number. And then what happens with the second one is, what kind of physical changes do you notice and where? Because you can stay the same weight, but still move forward. You can still be dropping body fat percentage and all of a sudden tightening up, and everything can be going in the right direction. You don't have to drop weight for that scale to give you a smiley face. And then number 3 is, yes, when are you hungry in the day? Because if you're hungry, we have to fill that void. Because the leaner you are, the more muscle mass you have now on your body that's reaching the surface, the more calories we have to consume, because you're a fucking well-oiled machine. And that is the goal.
Let's get back to the beginning. So in the beginning, we did a 16-day cleanse. And this 16-day cleanse was, it's genius. It's such a work of art that you almost don't believe it's true when you see the results that you get from 16 days. Let's go into that. Let's share with our listeners right now, the ones who have pulled over on the side of the road and they're taking copious amounts of notes here. Let's share with them. You can either, share the origin of that cleanse and then how it came about. Though I know from being in your fitness program through Dan, the amount of weight that was released in those 16 days when we first started this, it was thousands and thousands, it felt like, of pounds released. It was incredible. So walk us through that. Where did this come from?
Well, I would just want to say I had the most ever. A guy just lost 42 pounds in 16 days the other day, and I was blown away. Yes, and his buddy right now is running on 38 pounds with 4 days to go, so I'm sure he's going to beat him. When it comes to this cleanse, because back in the day, up until just a little while ago, 25% of my clients used to be competitors, bikini, figure, bodybuilding, and that kind of stuff. And when it comes to getting show ready, and that's why I love building a lot of my plans, because regardless of people going to a show or not, I could give 2 shits if you stand on stage. But what happens is the number one thing on stage that the judges are looking for is symmetry and everything looking like it's supposed to match the body. So when I build people's workout plans, I take that into consideration, because you can't go on stage and have the biggest chest but have no legs, because you're not going to look good. So every single person or every single body part has to match what it's supposed to look like. So in saying that, I had to go ahead and manipulate food, because the body's going to go ahead and drop water every single day, getting closer to the show to look great for that 1 minute on stage. So I took that into consideration when I put this together. And you know what? It's only breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And this cleanse, basically, it's not a cleanse that you're going to just shit your pants. It's a cleanse that you're going to go ahead and pee out a lot of water retention and bloating. And anything left over is weight that we've got to lose. But the cool thing about it is it's kind of like an internal reset, where it allows the body to go ahead and absorb all the whole foods and natural stuff that you're supposed to eat after you're done. I disagree with people eating, not people, just myself, but I try to practice this, artificial preservatives, this kind of stuff. You're not supposed to consume those foods, because the body doesn't know what to do with them. And when the body doesn't know what to do with them, but yet you consume them, it holds it as stubborn fat and it can't let go. So you know what? When I built this and tailored it to exactly what I wanted, it is whole foods, it's good proteins, it's, natural vegetables, this and that. It's things that the body can recognize, know what to do with. And when you come out of this, the clarity you have and how you feel, you just want to take on the world. And the cool thing about this, after 16 days, when you can go ahead and average lose around, 15, 16, 17 pounds, you're already pumped and you just left the starting line.
That's right. It almost sounds too good to be true, though. If any of our listeners right now are saying, I wish I could lose, fill in the blank, right? Or I wish I could release, right? Because we use the word release. We don't use the word lose, because lose, what does your brain do? It goes and finds it. So we release it, right? And I'm here to tell all of your listeners. So I started this back in May, about 194 pounds. And I felt like I'm a former athlete. But again, I tell my wife all the time that I'm a pure athlete. So athletes never lose their status. Though 190 plus pounds, I went to the gym every day of the week. I walked 30 minutes a day. Though when I took my shirt off, I was like, just not a dad bod, but though not a ripped bod. And so I thought, okay, I'll give this cleanse a shot and see what happens, but I don't think I need to lose anything. And after the 16 days at releasing 13 pounds, I was just blown away that my body was releasing what I didn't think I had to release.
It's so cool that, this does happen. And people have this misconception of, how much body fat percentage they're supposed to have on their body, or, how lean are they supposed to be? Or I get a lot of, wow, I haven't weighed this weight and since I was in grade 12 or 25 years old, or regardless. And so because we go ahead and we carry too much to begin with. But it's my job as a trainer to go ahead and allow somebody to understand where we're supposed to get. For my guys, it's getting down to a six pack where you like when you wake up what you look like. There's nothing sitting around anywhere where it's not supposed to be, and especially for guys, because carrying any weight in our midsection is not good for us. And then to have women feel comfortable in their own skin and like the way they look naked, not have to rely on clothes to go ahead and hold things where they need to be or where they think they should be. I want people to feel comfortable in their own skin. And doing this cleanse is such a game changer straight out of the gate. And it's such a hook, line, and sinker. And now all of a sudden, what other kind of possibilities are there? I just did this. We just started. Holy shit. And it's awesome to see those things happen.
Well, what was neat about my experience too, and I know that you've experienced this with other people, is and I want everybody to hear this, we have tendencies to allow our past patterns of behavior to dictate our present actions. Let me say it again. Our past patterns of behavior to dictate our present actions. I'll give you the perfect example. So Alan sends me over the cleanse. I sign up for the whole thing, and it had coffee on there. Coffee. I don't drink coffee. I've never drank coffee my entire life. And there were days on the cleanse where it was 3 cups of coffee. And if my wife knew where my head was with you, I basically slept with you, right? That's how I felt. I was so close to you, because it was like, I hear Alan in my head all the time. And he's like, if you're going to do the cleanse, don't deviate. Don't deviate. There is nothing we are going to change in the cleanse unless it is a medical reason why we're going to change it. So I did hear, though, that I could do decaf, because the world does not need Adam Roach on caffeine. Let me just put it that way. And so I did decaf, and I'm just going to tell everybody what I did. I don't like the taste of coffee, though I was committed to my future self. Right? I didn't give a shit what my past self was telling my present self. My future self was saying, if you want to get project, and that was what it's called, Project Rip to Shit. If you want to get there, you've got to commit to this. So every time that you had on the menu coffee, I would brew it, decaf, and I would have a cup of ice, and I'd pour it over the cup of ice, and I would smash it like I was smashing a beer back in the days when I drank alcohol. And that's how I would drink my coffee every single time it said coffee on the menu. Though it is such a transformation when you go through those 16 days. I had more of a transformation in those 16 days than I probably have with many of the coaches that I have hired throughout my years of being in the coaching space.
Yeah, it is pretty drastic when you go ahead and you finally consume something that gives you the ability to drop that unwanted weight. And I try to tell so many people, it's like, I'm just trying to take off the sleeping bag. It was myself included, to go ahead and allow you to see what's underneath. And
Yes.
It's crazy when you have those people go ahead and lose, 6, 7, 10, 20 pounds, how much different they look like underneath. And the cool thing about this is every single person is different, whether you weigh 100 pounds or 700 pounds, whether you've worked out for 20 years or whether you've worked out for 5, those people have different amounts of muscle in their body, and it's nuts. When someone drops that weight and they're like, holy shit, like they had this underneath. And now it's a game changer because now I get to go to work and fill the void to go ahead and fix the things that are weak and to get your calories up so the body doesn't get stressed out anymore, because so many people undereat calories.
Yeah. Let's talk about 40, 50, maybe even 60 years old individuals where you taught us about not necessarily reprogramming the metabolism, though kickstarting the metabolism again, right? Because we know as we age, metabolism just slows down, right? I mean, that is a I guess a science or a nature type thing that happens, though you can restart that metabolism and get it going faster again, right?
Yes, you can. Yes, you can. And I believe age is just a number, and I don't care how old you are, as long as you go ahead and implement these systems of all the things of, what to eat, when to eat, why to eat, when I should cut my food off, how many calories I should consume a day, what type of calories should I consume? Because I don't believe in as long as it fits your macros. I do not believe. I believe in, there's healthy calories out there and there are bad calories. But once again, it's my job to go ahead and educate somebody to understand what to eat and what to put in their mouth and how of an output it's going to give their body and how they're going to feel. So, a big deal for me is making sure that, it doesn't matter which age you are, is starting right out of the gate. When you get up in the morning, eating within 60 minutes to kickstart your metabolism and start that process. So many people, because they're stuck in their ways, my dad was included, get up, start the day, grab a coffee, wouldn't eat until lunch. Lunch might be 7 hours from now. Just because he's used to it doesn't make it the right way to do it, because he doesn't have that comparison. He doesn't understand. But when you start to implement, this is what you're supposed to consume here and here, it takes his day and just 10x it. And now all of a sudden you're way more productive. You can kick way more ass, and it's crazy. Look at even Dan Martell. When I met him, he was 221 pounds, took his shirt off. I was like, you're in decent shape, but we can definitely be better. And now all of a sudden he's just a fucking rock star that's shot out of a cannon with bicep veins all over the place. But it allows him to be better at every single thing he does.
That's right. Yeah. And that's how we started this podcast, is the number one thing that we know for you to achieve your desired goals in 2025, the number one thing you have to get right first is your health, right? The 100%. Number one thing you got to get right first is what are you consuming on a daily basis, right? And how are you consuming that on a daily basis? That was such great. I mean, I had nutritionalists way back in the day when I was playing college tennis, though. I was in my 20s back then, and it felt like I could consume a large pizza and be just fine and go play another 3 out of 5 set match, right? And now a true testament to you, Alan, and your education and your coaching. December 24th, 2024, I weighed 182.7 pounds. Stayed on our meal plan all the way through the holiday season, though there were times, and you've been to my house, and I showed you my little fake M&Ms that I like to smash from time to time. Though I did, I got off, right? I got off the band. I stayed about 70 to 80% true to my menu, and I got off of the, I would have a sweet something here or a little something here that was a little bit different. So I didn't go too far, right? I always heard you in my head, right? You sleep with me every night. I hear you in my head, right? Don't feel like shit, right? I keep hearing you say that. Don't feel like shit. And so I would stop versus just continuing to shovel it in my mouth. And I got on the scale January 3rd of 2025, and I weighed 182.7. And dude, it was like, I was so excited to text you that number and tell you that story because it worked, right? The whole process worked. And that was a good 5-6 months leading up to those 2 weeks there. And it worked.
And I love the fact that you just said that, because so many of my clients that have done what I've been teaching them and showing them and they've been following, it works exactly like that. Mm-hmm. If it comes off of fast, it can come back on fast. So you know what, when you have that, not necessarily that accountability, but when you're that structured and you just know this is what I'm supposed to eat because this is how it's going to make me feel, and you get these results, those results don't go away. It's not like we did something so drastic that all of a sudden now you take a week off and everything's going to come back. It's because we allowed the body fat percentage to come down and we didn't stress the body out in a negative way. We went ahead and allowed it to know what to do to release the weight it needed to get the calories where they are, so the body's not stressed out, so you don't gain that 10 or 15 pounds and you don't crave that shit. If it's not in your body on a regular basis, you're not going to crave it. Same thing for me.
So
My
true.
kids are 9 and 11 years old, and they've seen me maybe eat dessert twice in my entire life because I know I have an issue. I just don't want to do it. I'd rather replace it with a glass of wine or two because that's what I would look forward to. But every single person has their vice. We just have to make sure you don't take away everything. You just have to know when to implement it and when to put it in to allow for that best result.
Yep, that's very true. I want to say one more thing here, and we can talk about it, and then I want to transition real quick to working out. I love when I heard you say and tell the story that we have been conditioned in our past, almost from the time that we could probably remember as kids, of making a sweet a reward. Making a sweet a reward. Hey, good job, little Johnny. Let's go get an ice cream. Hey, good job, Susie. You did a great job at cheerleading. Let's go get an ice cream, or let's go get a candy bar. Let's go do something. And it was a reward. And I was like, holy cow, you're absolutely right. Or we'll work out hard throughout the week and we come home and my little fake M&Ms are sitting in the cabinet there. I think they're called real. And I'm like, oh, I've worked so hard. I can have a handful, right? It is the reward. And I had to hear you and I had to hear Dan say, stop rewarding yourselves with food and sweets, right?
100%. So, and you know what? You just hit the nail on the head. Back in the day when I was younger, it was like, okay, we get to go to McDonald's because they had the play place because you guys were good. So we got to have this or a Happy Meal or whatever. And we associated it with, hey, we did a good job. We get to go have fun, this and that. But you don't think anything different. And as especially as a kid, and then all of a sudden it's ingrained into you. And then you just live that life. But you need somebody outside the box, like to be able to, okay, well, why do we do that? Why is that the thing? Why can't we reward it with something completely different? Or why is there a reward there in it at all? You know what? You're already betting yourself. You're already feeling better. You know what? Maybe we can do something different.
Yeah, for sure. Let's transition to working out now. So again, another thing that I've learned from you over the last year is I was never a cardio kind of guy. Right? Cardio to me back in the day when I played competitive tennis and I taught tennis for 15 years. I always felt that I was getting enough cardio on the court that I didn't need cardio. Though there was a point in time I was like, gosh, maybe my midsection is getting a little soft and let's jump on cardio. And you were like, no, right now, screw cardio. I want you to work out so hard that it's like you're doing cardio while you're working out, right?
100%. And I love the fact that you said that because everyone just sits on a piece of fucking cardio equipment, assuming that it said they burned 500 calories, 600 calories. The watch said they burned 800 calories. Holy shit. But what happens is when you work out and you push the body the way it's supposed to, obviously within reason, you go ahead and you burn more calories. You can burn more calories doing 4 sets of squats in 20 minutes than you can on a treadmill for an hour because the body will continue to burn calories throughout the entire day. So when I tell people, if you had to pick, I would definitely pick weights. And so once you go ahead and you understand that, and then you incorporate supersets while you're doing that based on whatever your goal or your plan is, why the fuck would you ever need to do cardio? I know I've got 3 pieces of cardio equipment in my studio. I try and stay as far away from those as possible because the closer I get, the more my body starts to freak out. And I don't even need to know how to use half that shit. But yes, 100%.
Well, and again, I'll send you videos or I'll post it on my Instagram that like today was a leg day. Friday was a leg day. And we will go so hard in these leg days where again, I'll just continue to use myself as an example. In the past, if it was a leg day, it was kind of a slower day. It was a slower day. It was more of a methodical type day. And now, because of the supersets, because of me now being conditioned and trained on where I want my future self to be, not my past condition, my present, I'll look down at my watch and I'll keep it on so I can see my heart rate. And if I'm not seeing a higher heart rate going, I know I got to push harder. And so I'll send you videos of us dripping sweat from lifting weights. It is the most bizarre thing. And I'm looking down at my heart rates, 140, 150. And all I've done is lifted weights or box jumps or any of those types of things. And it's incredible.
100%. And you get more out of it. And as you can see, like when I leave the gym after an hour, I am, like you just said, I am completely soaked because I put in the time to do that. I don't have the time to sit there and do 30, 40, 50, an hour of cardio unless it's specific to something that I'm trying to accomplish. Like right now, Dan and a couple of the guys that work with him right now, they're doing a marathon and they've got 14 plus hours a week of cardio alone. Fuck that. But that's for that individual. So right. Yeah, I love the way we train and how we go about it.
And I'll go back to what you gave me. I think it was last week, where one of the questions was, I had answered it, and I feel really tight all over, though I want to continue to get that midsection even tighter. And your suggestion, which today was the first day that I did it, was do my level 2 cardio in the morning. Now, difference between level 2 and probably what we've seen before is that is where you can have a good heart rate. Yeah. Though if you can't have a conversation, you're not at a level 2, right? 100%. That's the way I've always understood it. And so I did that. And then you had me bring in my protein shake with me to the gym. And so I smashed that right afterwards. And then I got to the workout, and it was a great workout.
Yeah, I like this, because as we progress and as we're kind of getting to that point where you're starting to look like a fucking rock hard piece of equipment, you want to go ahead and these little changes make that drastic difference. So now going ahead and incorporating, 20 minutes of fasted cardio or whatever it might be with no food or water in the system, you're going to go ahead and burn stored fat from the day before. So like I've said before, you have 0 to 60 minutes when you wake up before your body needs to go ahead and consume food, or else it will burn muscle as an energy source. We still have that 0 to 60 minutes to burn any kind of stored fat from the day before. And so the cool thing about this is, if I start super small and we implement this, all of a sudden you might see a 2-3 pound decrease, but you'll just harden up like granite.
Yeah, and it's so neat to watch, and it's so incredible to feel, and it's just you've been a life changer and a game changer, man. And I can't say it enough and appreciate you enough, and so much so I want to share this with everybody. So I knew the change that Alan had in me. I knew the change he'd had in some of the coaches in our community, and so I asked him to come speak at the summit. And I want to ask you about this experience here, and let me preface this by sharing with Alan my vision for the summit, which is our whole life planning summit: health, wealth, relationship, spirituality, giving, leadership. And I wanted Alan to come in and speak on the fitness and the health side. And we had a conversation over the phone, and you gave it a good 24, 48 hour thought. And you came back and you said yes. Now, here was the cool part. About 3 weeks before the summit, he's like, hey, we need to have a conversation. I said, okay, great. Let's have a conversation. You remember that conversation? And you said, dude, how many people are going to be in the audience? I said, I don't know, anywhere between 200 to 300 people. And I'll paraphrase your language. Holy shit, I've never spoken in front of that many people before.
It was,
what was the experience like, my friend? What was the experience like? Because you absolutely knocked it out of the park.
Well, you know what? I would say, this speaks to anybody that wants to get outside the box. You need to, in order to move forward or advance where you want to go. And I was so scared, nervous. And I actually had Dan say, you're not nervous, you're not scared, you're excited. And I was like, well, fuck excited, because this is very different than what I'm used to. But I got there, I was sitting down, the first speaker had gone, I was number 2, and he did such a great job. And I literally wanted to cry. I looked at my girlfriend, I looked at my buddy Nico that was there, and I was like, I'm going to leave. This is crazy. But you know what? Once I got up there and you start doing what you do best every single day, it's like it just started to flow off my tongue. And you know what? I had such a fun time, and it was so cool to be able to do it at your event for my first time. And so, you know what, I really appreciated it. And it was so cool at the end of it, having everybody ask questions, because I can sit in front of a room and answer hundreds and hundreds of questions, because I love that. So getting to that point just made me feel so comfortable and confident.
Yeah. And what's neat about that is I lay that language that you just shared right there on top of any listener right now that is listening that says, I need to transform my life in the health and the fitness space. Because if you're uncomfortable right now listening to this podcast because you know you need to take action, right? Take action. And here's the action I want you to take. I want you to connect with Alan. And I'm not saying this because I get a kickback from Alan or any of those types of things. We don't have that type of arrangement. What it is he is a transformational life fitness and health coach. That's what he's going to do. He is going to transform your life. I have bros now that work out with, or at least have hired Alan to be their coach. Take Matt O'Neill. Matt is now in the gym, and what's that?
He looks so good, dude.
He does look good. He looks amazing, right? And he's so committed to it. And I just love how you're transforming all the people's lives around me. So for all of our listeners, how and what can they do to learn more about you, to engage with you in your programs, to take the next step to hire you and getting involved with your programs?
You know, what I would say is, you know what, shoot me a message on Instagram. I'm Coach Alan Dyck, and just, you know, shoot me a DM and just, you know, say macros or just anything like get my life back. You know what, anybody that went ahead and messages me, I want to go ahead and help every single person out there feel the way they should and understand that, you know what, the life they're living, you know what, even though it might be amazing, there is a better version of yourself out there. And I'm an exact, you know, reason or exact example of that, to go from 300 pounds to the way I feel now. I want to touch base on the fact that, you know, I'm helping a couple, Shannon and her son, Zach, from the summit that I met. They are combined almost 100 pounds, and it's only been 2 months and a week and a half. And so they are doing so well. But once again, if you want to take your life back, shoot me a message on DM and just, you know what, just shoot me a message that says, take my life back or get my life back. And I will help every single person that wants to go ahead and put in the time. I love this and I take it very personally. You know what? But just like Adam said, any single person I take on, it's like we're dating. It's that happy zone where we're actually going to talk about and share our real feelings.
Well, and I'll take Shannon as an example. Shannon is such a great testament to your work. And just like many of the listeners right now that are getting ready to take the action and reach out to you, again, that's Coach Alan Dyck, D-Y-C-K, is as soon as she heard you at the summit, she then had a connection with you one way or another, and she texted me. And she said, is this Alan stuff for real? And I said, don't ask me dumb questions. I mean, because it is, and I say that tongue in cheek because I love Shannon, though it is going to feel right. And I love this language that you've taught us as well. The transformations happens at the transaction, right? 100%. The moment you bet on yourself and hire Alan to help you transform your life in the health, nutrition, and mindset space, your world will change. Shannon's world has changed. She went from a beautiful smile to now a radiant, believe in herself smile that, I mean, just impacts so many different areas of her world, in her design world, in her family world, in her coaching world. Alan, you've had such an impact on so many people that all these listeners right now that okay, you guys can start driving again. I want you to go to Alan's Instagram page and message him whatever he said to message him and go get involved, because again, it's going to change your life.
Yeah, message me, take my life back. And honestly, you know, like I said, I'm here to help as many people as possible, as long as you're willing to put in the time and get outside the box, because you know what? Let's start right away. You know, Fuck this waiting till Monday stuff. And I just want to say, Zach, her son, he's 16 years old. He was 280 pounds and he is 236 today and looks absolutely amazing. And the smile on his face is so fucking rad to see.
So cool.
Yeah, buddy.
Yep, absolutely. Alan, I appreciate you. You know, I love you more like a brother. And at the end of the day, too, everyone who's listening, you can go to my Instagram page, Adam R. Roach, and you can just type in Dyck, D-Y-C-K, and I'll shoot you over Alan's video from the summit. That way you can hear Alan speak and see. He said he was nervous. He was a professional up on that stage, y'all. He absolutely crushed it. So go to Adam R. Roach on my Instagram, type in the word Dyck, D-Y-C-K. And Alan, you real quick, you have a podcast coming. I think you've already launched it, right?
100%. It's called Trust the Dyck. And I think we have 9 or 10 episodes that are out already. Every single Wednesday and Saturday, they get put out on every single social platform out there, from YouTube to Spotify.
Beautiful. Love it. Well, Alan, I love you. I love that you came on the I Love Coaching podcast. I have no doubt that our listeners and our community will be forever changed as they take action to come hire you. And in the same breath, I have no doubt you'll probably be a repeat podcast attendee here because you're that good, my friend. Thank you. And stay warm up there in Canada.